Hey guys, in this month's Historical Fiction 101, I'm going to be sharing with you Robin Hood retellings. We all love Robin Hood, right? I think we're all very familiar with the story of Robin Hood, about this thief who steals from the rich, gives to the poor. And yeah, there's been so many freaking adaptations of Robin Hood, it's not even funny. We got the Disney adaptation, got the BBC adaptation, we got like the Kevin Costner movie, the Russell Crowe movie. I think the list goes on. So if you are a fan of the Robin Hood story, you may want to check out some of these books. My first recommendation is Scarlet by A.C. Gowan, I think is how the author's name is pronounced. And this is a young adult retelling of the Robin Hood story following the point of view of Will Scarlet. But Will Scarlet is not a man, as he traditionally is. Will Scarlet is actually a young female thief who joins Robin Hood's gang. Next, I have the King Raven's Trilogy by Stephen R. Lawhead, and this consists of 3 books. We have Hood, Scarlet, and then Tuck. The King Raven Trilogy follows a young man named Bran. His family is brutally murdered. He is on the run, and he eventually becomes the legendary Robin Hood figure. So this is his story, how he turns into Robin Hood. And I love this trilogy. I highly recommend it. What this trilogy does that is so unique, you know, when you think about Robin Hood, you typically think of England and Nottingham and all of that. But what Stephen R. Lawhead does, he kind of relocates the story. He puts it in Wales. So everything in here is very heavy on Welsh mythology or Celtic mythology. So yeah, I thought that was a very interesting twist. Next is Ivanhoe by Walter Scott. You may be thinking to yourself, but that's a classic. But technically it is historical fiction because Walter Scott wrote it in the 1800s, I believe. If my research was correct, it was published in the 1800s. And the story does take place, I believe, in the 1100s. And this follows Ivanhoe, who follows King Richard the Lionheart into the Holy Lands to fight in the Crusades, while also seeking the love of Lady Rowena. And my understanding is that Robin Hood himself does make an appearance in this story. I'm not sure if Robin Hood has a big role or if it's like a cameo. So I don't know. Have you guys read Ivanhoe? Do you know how long Robin Hood is physically in the story? Next, I have The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood by Howard Pyle. And this was first published in the 1800s, and it's just a big compilation of all the famous popular stories of Robin Hood, essentially. Kind of the go-to book that most people read when it comes to Robin Hood and the story. Next, I have Wolf's Head by Stephen A. McKay. This one takes place in England in 1321, and it follows Robin and his gang as they try to save the country from those who are seeking to undermine King Edward II. And I like that this is a bit of a change from the typical Robin Hood story, because the Robin Hood story typically is in the 1100s with King Richard the First, right? Yeah, the Lionheart. And yeah, I like that this kind of moves the timeline up quite a bit, and Robin is with King Edward II. Next, I have Maid Marian by Elsa Watson. This is a retelling told from the point of view of Robin Hood's lady love, Maid Marian, and this does feature characters like King Richard the Lionheart and Queen Eleanor. Next, I have Outlaw by Angus Donald. This book sounds like it's told from the point of view of Alan Adale, one of Robin Hood's merry men, and just telling the story of Alan Adale as he joins the notorious outlaw and his gang. Next, I have Night of Shadows by Toby Venables. This is actually like a fantasy sort of book. I've found this book in like the fantasy section at the bookstore, weirdly enough. And this follows a character from the Robin Hood stories, Guy of Gisborne. And in this novel, Guy of Gisborne, he is a knight and a mercenary to Prince John. and Guy of Gisborne is sent on this mission to retrieve the jewel-encrusted skull of John the Baptist, and that just sounds really awesome. I definitely gotta pick up this book. Next, I have Mark of the Black Arrow by Debbie Vigue. This is another book that can be found in the fantasy section of your bookstore, and it follows this gang of rebels, that obviously being Robin Hood's gang. And after Richard the Lionheart leaves, they have to deal with not only the threat of Prince John, but also the threat of these demonic forces that are threatening the safety and security of England. And my last recommendation here is Lady of Sherwood by Jennifer Roberson. And this is historical romance following Maid Marian as she flees to Sherwood Forest and encounters Robin Hood. So yeah, you guys, that's it for the Robin Hood recommendations. Do you guys want to read any of these? Have you read any of them? They all definitely sound really, really good. I love the story of Robin Hood. I love just about any adaptation of it. So yeah, a lot of these I would personally love to check out myself. And yeah, are there any recommendations, any books that I left out of this list? Because I know there's probably some others out there. So if there are any books that I left out of this video, just put them in the comments down below. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.